So, Saram, everyone. Today, my guest is usually Pavel Kalagin from New York, Brooklyn. So, hi, Paul.
Hi everybody.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, as usually, actually, I am from the jungle. Okay, South Indian jungle. Paul is from the also jungle, but
Also,
in New York. Yeah.
yeah,
And let me, as
stone,
usually, introduce. So, sorry.
stone jungle.
So, stone jungles. Yeah, mine is better. Situation position is much better. I have peacocks outside.
It's
Yeah. Well, you have traffic. Yeah, traffic jams.
I have a
I
lot of
have
thoughts.
peacock.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have peacock jams. Yeah. Well, let me introduce Paul Kalagin again. So he's a Shivananda yoga meditation and yoga master. Yeah, and let me introduce myself as well. I'm a Kriya Yoga master and satisfied devotee. So that's the reason why we discuss actually topic which is Swami Sivananda philosophy plus Satya Sai Baba philosophy, similarity, maybe by the way difference as well. And today, let's speak about devotion or bhakti yoga, so-called bhakti yoga, yoga of devotion, according to the Satyasai tradition and Shivananda Swami tradition as well. Well, actually, devotion to God is something absolutely universal. We can take as example Christian, Jewish, Muslim religious traditions, Hindu. Devotion is everywhere. But of course, yeah, slightly more complicated question is about Buddhist tradition. They don't have God as person, but they have devotion to Buddha anyway. And the first question, really tricky one, which I wish to ask is devotion to whom? Because if we just observe what's actually happened all around, there are many so-called gurus and religious leaders, and they demand devotion as well. Okay, according to the Bible or Christian Bible and okay Jewish Torah, we have to be devoted only to God only. According to the Bhagavad Gita, also, yeah, we have to express our okay feelings, devotion, create, establish this devotion only to God. But maybe the difference between Bible and Vedic scriptures, according to my understanding, that okay, in the Bible it's like more strict. You know, you have to be devoted to God, otherwise you will go to it's not good, you are a sinner. But in the Vedic tradition, it's like more flexible. I mean to say, well, you can actually worship to different gods, demigods, even ancestors. But you have to know, you have to remember that's Krishna's message in Bhagavad Gita that if you worship to demigods, later on you will go to the demigods. If you worship to the ancestors, okay, you will go to the ancestors. So better to worship to God. But at the same time, it's not so strict. So can you say a few words about to whom we have to be devoted? To gurus, to God? What does mean God? Who are gurus?
Yeah, it's extremely good question. Yeah, and everybody is discussing this question like for centuries, through centuries, like from different traditions, from different views. But according to Swami Shivananda and according my Ashram now also. Um, I would say not to whom, but devotion by itself.
Uh-huh.
That's the thing. Like Shivananda always said, like the more important it's devotion in you by itself. It's like it's very hard to explain, but I'll try. Like in Shivananda system, it's like it's classical Vedanta. It's like Brahman to absolute, which is for people it's like not existent thing. It's a devotion for non-existent. So it's kind of sounds crazy maybe, But if you, I have my sutra. I wrote it like while ago, like aphorism. Like if you can, uh, I'll try to translate it in English. If you can devote to like to no one for not existing, that's the real like devotion you have. It's actually it's very thing. It's like it's not obvious, but sometimes like we focus like for example like to who we devote, but we're missing the moment, like devotion itself. It's actually meditation. Like we're missing meditation, the present moment, the moment of the truth, I would say. Like and concentrate with willpower, will mind too much, and then we tense. And if we are like loose, like relaxed, and you have devotion, like you don't have in mind like Buddha or Jesus or like nothing. You just have it. You just believe in higher power, I would say, like something, like something. Yeah, that's the key of devotion. And then you can put the to whom. It's like the second question from point of view like of Shivananda and mine also. That's not first thing, like to whom.
Well, actually, your description of devotion, according to the Swami Sivananda, actually, as I'm just listening to you, is really devotion to God. I mean, if we just devoted to the absolute power, and it's like devotion to the source of all existence,
Yeah,
and then that itself is answered to whom. Okay, when we discuss different questions, okay, okay, that's okay also if we sometimes can be agree or not agree, but for me, actually, to whom is very important because there are many people who can be devoted to, I mean, crazy religious leaders, for example, or even political leaders, or even whatever rock stars. Well, and then be manipulated by that crazy religious leaders. That's also the point. But then, actually, your description is actually the devotion to God. But then, what does mean God? And I think that our behavior, our actions, that's indication what kind of devotion we have. Because suppose if we are devoted to certain religious leader, it means devotion to the ego of that guy, okay, any particular guy. Then later on we become aggressive and fanatics and say we like this group of people, we don't like hate other group of people, etc. But devotion to God, it always in tune with, actually it is vibration of love and compassion which is unconditional. I think that that's the point. If we're really devoted to God, our life must be as a stream of devotion, compassion, love. And suppose, okay, we are meditation teachers, masters, are very far from political questions, but we just pray for peace. And doesn't matter which country, which ethnic group, peace
that's
for
very
everyone.
yeah, that's very similar thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
peace for
exactly what,
everyone.
yeah.
This is vibration of the divine force. But let us be honest, there are many people who claim that they are religious, but they pray for somebody against somebody else.
Yeah,
And I think that when we observe actions, quality of this, what people actually do, how they behave, it's like very easy to say, yeah, yes, we're devotees, but how our life looks like, that's very important. But okay, can you just continue to say this very interesting devotion by itself? Can you just say something more about it? Devotion by itself to this source, to this Brahman, to this absolute, how can we may experience it? Because much easier to be devoted on, like, to certain form, to certain
Yeah,
guru, and of
yeah,
course very helpful to be devotee of certain divine incarnation. For example, Satyasai as a divine incarnation, much easier to concentrate on his form than on absolute. What is the difference according to the Shivananda yoga tradition, like devotion to absolute Brahman and devotion, for example, to Krishna or Satyasai, whatever, Jesus?
yeah. It's a good question because in Shivananda, that's the Shivananda way. That's the both ways are acceptable. So it's you can devote to the Krishna, and you can devote to like absolute. So it's both things. It depends of the person. The thing is everybody is different. That's the thing. Like for um, different kind of mind structure, different character, different temper. And for me, for example, it's easier just to meditate on with no form.
Mm.
Uh, but not, but in the same time, I'm not against people who is praying for the form, who devote for the form, for Buddha or Krishna or some guru even. Of course, I'm against fanatical things like when it's too much, not only in devotion, in general. But it's like Saguna and Nirguna. So it's classical Vedanta, which Shivananda like represented. So the both ways are good. And when I was in Ashram, actually, um, after the test exam, like after the course, like everybody for everybody they gave mantra, and they said like what kind of mantra you want, for what do you feel you need, like something. It depends on like you need like the land under your feet. You like you person like that, your personality, like you like it, you feel it more. And because some people they just cannot do it, like they can't think about like absolute what is that, like they can't picture it actually. And for me it was easier to take like soham, like I'm there, like this
Mhm.
devotion. And for it was the it was actually the in Shivananda Ashram, it was actually you, you can choose. Like it's Krishna mantra you can take Shiva mantra, wherever like your heart feeling, like by deep intuition. So
It's uh-huh. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, please continue.
yes. So the both ways, it's in Shivananda way, it's absolutely normal. It's absolutely okay. That they're not against each other. It's just different way of devotion, depending on the person. And
Yeah, I think it's very important what you are saying, that we have many different kinds of devotion, and mostly people confusing this situation that we can't speak about only one kind of devotion. There are many kinds, and for
yeah,
of course, I wish to remember now Ramana Maharshi, great Advaita master, who was at the same time great devotee. And many followers of Ramana Maharshi tradition, they can't understand how it's possible. He was speaking about pure process of self-inquiry, like just no form, no separate God somewhere above. But he was devotee, great devotee of Shiva in the form of Arunachala hill or Arunachala rock, mount. And that's interesting. And Satyasai's approach was, again, as far as I can understand it, basically it was classical Vedanta, that God is not form and name. And of course, he was always basically preaching God as true self of everyone, true self, Brahman. But at the same time, it was very an easy situation for some devotees, because Satya Sai was himself divine, the divine incarnation, and how to balance this his message, his own message about pure Advaita, about meditation on self, and at the same time very powerful his own form and name. And his approach was absolutely the same, just to choose for yourself according to
Yeah.
your own conditions. And who knows, maybe in a couple of years you can change your approach. That's also okay. But anyway, name and form are very helpful to express this devotion. Yeah.
Just one more, yeah. In some ways, it's existing also for many people. In Shivananda way, also I saw like they taken devotion. They taken both ways. It's like they can do meditation like on Brahman, like it's specific meditation like Soham and stuff like that, and in the same time he can be devotee of the Krishna, let's say, in the same time, and it's not like because mm, in advance it's all the same, like it's all about energy, so it's kind of forms of God, so it's no conflict between it. So in Shivananda it was no conflict about it. He was devoted to Shiva, to Krishna. He was repeating many mantras to many gods, and in the same time he was like repeating Soham Om also, like it's because it was no conflict inside, it was harmony, balanced energy. When you have calm mind, peaceful mind, and the energy going through chakras like well, and you in harmony, it's no problem for you. You don't have conflict like as it is like inside of you. Like you don't have to say like, oh, you're wrong or right. You accept both. So like flowers, like this flower I don't like, this flower I like. It's like the both they're flowers. They're just different. That's very similar. Yeah, it's so me like for me for example. Um, I don't feel bad if I'm doing some ritual like some puja to Shiva,
Mhm.
let's say. Like I'm grateful. It's and in the same time like I feel harmony when I'm meditating like on absolute also. So it's no conflict in me. But I see person like I see many people who. Actually they have conflict, they have like in like they have angry inside, they hyper, and they kind of taking they can take only one form like they
And
because
that's also okay.
yeah, and that's okay.
Yeah, but better not to deny other approaches.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, this is it. So it's not that hard to understand. So everybody is different. So for yeah, I just wanted to say like it's some people uh, like devotee of Krishna, some people devotee like of Brahman, some people both. I'm saying like the both. It's no problem for me at least, and for Shivananda it was no problem also. So
Yeah.
I don't see the conflict in here.
Uh,
In
the masters like Shiva, Swami Sivananda, Satya Sai Baba, and of course, good to mention Ram Krishna Paramahamsa. For all that top level divine masters, never contradicted. It was never contradicted to think about, to express devotion in a different way. Okay, let us complete this video for today. I'm sure it was very helpful for many people, because devotion is a very tough question for many Westerners, especially because okay, but though in the Christian tradition, in the Jewish and the Muslim tradition, we have a devotional approach as well, but many like esoteric people in the West, they like can't understand the meaning of that. But I hope this video was really helpful and useful. So, Saram all of you.
Um,
See you next time.
see you.